Hello, hello. This is a bonus in the Fake the Nation feed. Today we're joined by comedian John Hodgman. Hey, John Hodgman.
Humorist, really, but thank you.
Humorist John Hodgman, who you can also see at the San Francisco
much
Sketch
classier.
Fest.
Are expected to produce audible laughter. I don't want anyone to have that expectation.
You're in the gentle chuckle realm.
That's right. If you want to see what I'm all about, come to San Francisco Sketch Fest, January 18th. Judge John Hodgman live at Marines Memorial.
John Hodgman for gentle chuckles. We are also joined by hard chucklist, comedian and cartoonist at the New Yorker. It is the one and only Emily Flake. Hey, Emily.
Hello, and if you want some rock hard chuckles, you can come to Young Ethel's on Saturday, January 10th.
Yeah, rock hard chuckles. By the way, go to that show.
Wait, tell me the show again. I missed it.
It's called FDK. It's at Young Ethel's, 7 o'clock.
And it's a monthly show.
And it's free. All you have to do is, buy some booze and
let them
tip
know, what is
your
FDK?
bartenders.
What does FDK mean?
It stands for it stands for Fuck Them Kids. Because my wonderful co-host, Holly Harper, and I both have children, and we love them, and also sometimes...
Those kids.
Yeah, in general, fuck
Well,
those kids.
I wanted to do a quick little prediction drop here in the Fake the Nation feed for our fine listeners. Predicting is possibly very stupid, but I also think it's so fun. So let us begin. First up, what is your prediction on Trump's grip on the party in 2026? Does it slip? Does it strengthen? Does it remain flat?
Oof. I feel like any prediction that I make is just going to be pure wish casting, because I would love to say it weakens and that somehow the schism that like Marjorie Taylor Greene is kind of like a part of really just cracks the whole thing wide open. But probably he's just going to continue to crush it and us. And he's going to live to be 150 goddamn years old.
Okay, so your prediction is...
Every time I get a news notification on my phone, I'm like, oh, wrong one. That's not what I was waiting for. Which is only proof that, yes, it is. I mean, I know this is a prediction segment, and my answer is yes, no, or maybe. But I mean, I was like, we have those predictions that we make in order to make ourselves feel better. We have those predictions that we make in order to modify our expectations. Like, yeah, it's just going to go on forever. There is something going on in the GOP, and Marjorie Taylor Greene is a good example. But has the scales fallen from her eyes, or is she just sort of triangulating for a time when Trump won't be around?
Yes,
people are definitely speculating Trump won't be around, and that will cause friction in the party as they try to situate themselves for a post-Trump world, whenever that might happen, within 2 years, 3 years, or 50 years, or whatever. So,
right. I mean...
So in that sense, I feel like he's already lost grip to a degree.
Yeah.
If you lose grip on Marjorie Taylor Greene, you have lost your grip.
I agree. I mean, she's definitely like the canary in the coal mine thingy or whatever.
she's our little yellow bird.
She's our little yellow bird.
We're watching to see if it dies.
Yeah.
but it is. I think it's right. I think you're right that he has lost a little bit of grip already. I think this Venezuela thing will make the diehards that are like, we voted for you because we don't want foreign interventions. I mean, that's something we didn't talk about in the last episode when we talked about Venezuela, is that like actually people voted for him because they don't want to see foreign entanglements.
And I think that there was a time when those people, whether they were elected officials or just voters, would immediately turn on a dime and go, yeah, but this is great, and we love him. I'm not sure that that's going to happen in this case. I guess we'll see.
I don't think they'll turn on a dime, but I do think they'll turn on a quarter. I have seen this, like again with my dad, sort of the mental pretzel like that you have to make to kind of come around to
keep
something.
Supporting him.
So yes, I think he'll lose a few.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'll lose as many as we need him to.
Right. Like I mentioned in my last episode, my mom's one of her BFFs became Trumpy and is now like complains about Trump because of the effects that he's had on what she perceives as like a lot of, the kitchen table issues, like the prices in the grocery store. She was really afraid about her daughter's situation with healthcare and Obamacare and all that. That fear continues, obviously, because they have done nothing. There's something. There's another point of losing grip is, now that we don't have the Obamacare extension, the whatever you call supplement,
Yeah.
then people are going to be fucked. A lot of people
Premiums
are going to be fucked.
have already gone up, and people are feeling it across the political spectrum.
And it doesn't matter if you're MAGA. I mean, people who are MAGA also have Obamacare.
Yeah.
You know?
Any point at which people have skin in the game and this hurts them will, I think, help turn them away. But a lot of people, I think, will, again, find ways around it, like, depending on how the administration is able to spin. Like, somehow this is Obama's fault. Like, I don't know. I don't want to be, like, doom and gloom here, but I feel...
Well, another counter to doom and gloom are the podcast bros. Because they Marjorie Taylor Greened before Marjorie Taylor Greene did.
Right.
Right? I mean, like, kind of mostly there have been,
Talking about the pro-Trump bros.
the
the Joe
Rogans and the Theo Vons.
Little
Like
Rogans.
Rogan was just like, wait, why are they taking gardeners or whatever? Like he has said famously,
Right.
Not famously enough for me to remember what he said.
And I think that it's also an example that obviously Donald Trump's grip has had a firm grip on a lot of things for a long time.
Well, he
and
has
certainly-
that bruise on his hand.
Yeah, exactly. But this is not his agenda even. Donald Trump's agenda is the personal enrichment of Donald Trump, the personal empowerment of Donald Trump. And there was a time when he thinks that he's going to get another term out of this. So, he's just trading his position for money and power and flattery. But invading Venezuela is not his idea, right? That's like Rubio and Miller's idea.
Yeah.
And he goes along with it because it makes him look and feel powerful. You know what I mean? Like, if he wanted to be president and actually serve his constituency, affordability wouldn't be a joke to him. It would be a concern to him, So I think he's already he's got a lot of...
Yeah.
Got a lot, you got to put a lot of lotion on those hands.
Yeah.
So his grip is getting very slippery.
Yeah, butter hands.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, more predictions. And we are back. Here's another question for you guys. Do Democrats win in 2026? So we have a midterm election. What do you think?
Some will and some won't.
Bold take, Hodgman.
Thank you.
I sure hope so, obviously. I don't know. A lot can happen in this space. I mean, like, look what's happened this year. I honestly can't even hazard a guess. I would love to see some sort of like blue wave situation, but again, I just feel like everything that comes out of my mouth is some kind of wish cast.
I think it's going to be district by district, hard fought. And I think my prediction is, and this might be wish casting, but I do think that it's true. Democrats, within the Democratic constituency, people are tired of corporate Democrats. Mm-hmm. And I am not speaking as someone from the far left who has been advocating this. Like, the scales have fallen from my eyes, and particularly now, the weak tea representation that we have from Democratic leadership in Washington, everyone's disgusted by it. There's no one out there who's like, yeah, I love what Chuck Schumer's up to.
Yeah.
And I would say that my guess is that the Democrats who run on traditional centrist pro-corporate messaging, or who are not out there advocating the opposite, are gonna lose. And Democrats who, like Mamdani, run on real people, real affordability issues, and a real objection to the outsized, not just income inequality, but influence inequality that billionaires and big corporations have right now, are going to win. I think that that's a winning message right now for them.
I absolutely agree, and I'll add that I think it's going to be like very kind of district to district in terms of like a progressive message that will work in New York might not necessarily, track in other places, but I think the key there is like at least an authenticity and understanding.
Absolutely.
And
a willingness to connect with real voters.
Absolutely.
And a willingness to reject corporate money.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that yes, you're going to have to represent your constituency. So if they're not particularly progressive, you don't want to be out there being too progressive, I guess.
Right. And what that means on a national stage, I'm not sure. I don't know who our best champion, for 2028 is going to be, but.
Right. I mean, I think
none of them are particularly inspiring.
But that's actually my next question. But I'll get to that in a second. But first, I want to say that I do like this idea of like there's not only do Democrats maybe do win, but they win with a different flavor of politics than what we're used to. And maybe it's more in line, with something like what Mom Donnie is providing. And by the way, in the last episode we talked about Colorado and what they're doing. They're decided to tax people who make over $300,000 so they can give food stamps and school meals to children, all children. And that is something that won 57% of the vote. So that's something that can be seen as like a very mainstream action. That's something that Mom Donnie would have backed, right? And it's something that a regular Democrat would have backed. So there's it's like a new flavor that's like, let's be loud about the stuff that helps people, I think is the flavor.
Mom Donnie is one of the most talented communicators and politicians I've ever encountered or witnessed in my life, and I've lived 275 years. I'm older than the country. And I think there will be a temptation among Democrats to say, well, he won because he's so charming and talented. He even charmed Donald Trump, which comes as no surprise. He's a charming fuck.
Yeah.
But I think that what he really won on was his connection with voters' real everyday concerns, ultimately. And I will make a prediction. This is against my nature, but we live in weird times. We need to be bold. And I'm going to make a prediction.
Please.
And I'm going to ask you and your listeners to hold me to it.
Okay.
You were talking about the mainstream. I'm talking about the state of Maine. Graham Plattner, I predict, will beat Janet Mills in the primary.
Hey.
Interesting.
I think...
Despite the little scandal around him?
I don't know that it's even a little scandal. I mean, he wrote some shit. He apologized for it. He represents as a real person who made mistakes and has grown. That tattoo was weird and troubling, but I think you'd have to be a true conspiracy theorist to believe that he's secretly a Nazi. I think that was a real error of judgment on his part. But I think he understands the constituency of the Maine voter, many of whom are independent and between parties, better than almost anyone I've ever encountered. And I think he's a profoundly talented communicator. Right. And by the way, he raises oysters. I've eaten those oysters. They're the best oysters I've ever eaten.
I agree with you, but I wonder if the thing that will sink him is that he's actually like a rich kid.
So there is a...
That's funny, Emily, because I actually didn't know that. Is he a rich kid?
He went to, it's Hotchkiss.
He went to 1 year at a private high school in Connecticut, I think it is even, Hotchkiss, which is pretty expensive. His grandfather or his dad is a very famous furniture designer, mid-century modern furniture designer. He then transferred to what's a private school in Maine, but a lot of private schools in Maine are not what you consider to be private schools. They are privately funded institutions that towns pay money to send their kids to go there because they don't have comparable high schools there. So the majority of it, I mean, we're getting into the weeds here a little bit. He is a genuine working guy. Like he honestly has an oyster farm and goes out on the water every day.
Sure.
Or did until he started running for Senate.
Yeah.
He comes probably from... Well, I don't know. I don't know the bank accounts of his family.
But I also feel like,
I
also don't feel like J.B. Pritzker is a fucking billionaire, and I don't think that means that he doesn't know how to lead.
No, of course not. And I don't think that's true of Plattner either. I just think, I'm trying to anticipate things like what...
I've seen
things that might
critique
sink him.
Bubbling up, and you're absolutely right. Maybe that narrative will catch hold.
And mainly because, I think people will use it to poke holes in what could be seen as sort of a working man cosplay, even though he is, a man who works.
It is absolutely not cosplay, though. Okay. That is, he is absolutely who he is. Warts.
Yeah, this isn't Scott Bessent being a soybean farmer or whatever.
This is not, and all I'm saying is this is why I think he'll win in the primary, right? Despite all this. And I'm not making a prediction yet about the general. But I think he'll win in the primary because I've met him many times. I knew him before he ran. He's a profoundly real person who acknowledges his faults, and I think we've seen that. I also think that if you meet him, you like him.
Right.
And all of the narrative around him evaporates once you see him at a town hall for a lot of people, not for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the thing about Maine is the electorate is so small that he genuinely could probably meet every voter in Maine between now and the primary And he's doing that, which Janet Mills is not doing.
And I do want to say, I genuinely hope you're right, because he's hot.
He's profoundly
Well, speaking of
hot.
hot, is there any? Are there any other celebrities, Democratic celebrities, that you think will rise to the top coming out of 2026?
Let me just finish my prediction.
Okay.
I think he'll beat Janet Mills in the primary.
Okay.
I'm going to go so far as to say he beats Susan Collins in the general for the Senate. If he does, and I got a crow in my freezer to eat, to defrost and eat when this doesn't happen, right?
Great.
And if he does, you're going to see in 2026 a massive realignment of the Democratic Party because candidates like him and Mamdani and others are winning on a message that is populist.
Well, and there's your Jasmine Crockett's.
Yes. Another great example.
Another great example. The kind of like rising celebrity. There's like, can Gavin Newsom and J.B. Pritzker retain whatever like reputation they've got going right now into what'll ultimately be a presidential year coming up?
I mean, Bashir, are we thinking anything about Andy Bashir?
I guess I didn't think about him. He hasn't been as vocal.
He's fine.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. I mean, he's very, very, he's a great governor. And
also there's I think what's fun too is that we have the opportunity to see someone come like out of nowhere like Mamdani did and capture people's mind. I think that's the opportunity for everything that I absolutely hate about social media, and I think we should all throw our phones into the ocean. It is providing this pipeline for people to come out of the blue, out of nowhere, and become something.
And in a post-Trump world, which will someday exist, we have to one thing that has changed is you got to have a lot of personality.
Yeah,
you got to be fun.
Yeah,
this triangulation of we'll bring these people in, we'll bring this. Anyone can now sense a completely contrived message.
It's pure vibes.
Yeah.
And it's got to be vibes. And, back it up with policy and with competency, and I think you've got a winning candidate.
And I think the other good thing is it's whether you like or dislike the kind of free bus, whatever, but there was 2 or 3 things literally everyone could say about Mamdani, about what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
If either you liked those things or you didn't like those things, didn't matter. Everyone knew what they were. So that's the other thing.
And the difference between Plattner and Mamdani is that, everyone natively, except for some of the landlords and some of the, people of the New York Times, everyone natively believed this is a good guy. Right?
Yeah.
I think people are still figuring out who Graham Plattner is.
Right.
But I think that it will not be decided by people outside Maine. It'll be decided by people in Maine. And if he meets enough people, I think he's going to.
Let me radically change gears here for the last question, which is on a more personal note, I guess, or it could be also on a societal note. Does AI run more of your life in 2026 or not really?
I fucking hope not.
I agree.
Is it to the point where you're I've seen what it can do and I don't need to integrate more of this into my work life?
I am against it root and stem.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's also it's an easy position to come by because it sucks. It's not useful. It's confusing, it's misleading, I have messed around with it. And there is none of it that is inspiring as a creative tool. There's none of it makes my life easier as a creative person, or even as someone who runs, or helps to run a small business. It's not useful. It's a waste.
I'll tell you
it's an environmental disaster.
Well, that's not even mentioned.
And it's actively stealing work.
It's actually stealing jobs.
People.
I'll tell you.
And people hate it.
So as a documentary filmmaker, the one thing that I've the only tool that I've kind of started to use of AI, and I hear people largely kind of the Silicon Valley types being if you're not embracing AI, you're going to lose in the future or whatever.
Yeah, I wonder why they're saying
that. And I can see why they're saying that. And I also, let's say they're not even trying to be, sinister and take my money, right? Let's say they really earnestly mean, these are tools. I think it's useful in science, and I can see that it helps with like large scale calculations or whatever, like that, those things I can see. I think for the everyday person, like abdicating your schedule making or I don't know, your recipes or something to AI, it sort of feels like silly and like not terribly. I don't see how it's like life altering to use those tools. I'm not like angry at people for using those tools. As a documentary filmmaker, the one thing that has been useful is transcripts. The transcript feature. I'll be honest, I use that.
I mean, when I was in Maine over the winter, I slipped and fell on the ice. I had to go to a urgent care center to have my head examined, literally. And dude walked in and he said, we're using AI to listen to the conversation and make notes. Do you have a problem with that? I'm like, I absolutely do not have a problem with that. That must relieve you of a lot of burden.
Of typing.
And also, by the way, thanks for asking consent.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even care if people make AI movies as long as it's truth in labeling. This was made by AI.
Right. Yeah.
Don't try to trick me with it.
Yeah.
But I think the greatest thing was Josh Marshall at Talking Points Memo reported on a Politico poll that showed that 80% of Americans support extremely strong regulation on AI. They don't like it.
Yeah.
And this is why we need a Democratic Party that is willing to break with corporate interests.
100%.
Well, and I actually
because they need to defend those Americans against the bulldozer mentality of those tech bros who are telling you like, you got to love it because we've decided we need to make money off of it.
Damn, Hodgman, you running?
I'm not. All right.
New political celebrity for
Second
2026.
district in Maine. It's me versus Paul LePage. That's exactly what they need. A guy from New York.
No, and I have to be honest. Like I saw my parents over Christmas, and I walked into the living room some night, and they were watching like a thing that was generated by AI. It was like it looked like a little documentary, and like it was like stuff of Anderson Cooper had been cut into this thing, and it was just clearly like done by AI, the entire thing, and the voiceover and all of that. And I said to them, like, this is AI. And they were like, oh, yeah, we figured because everything felt a little weird.
It does.
And I was like, it's annoying because I'm not around all the time to be like, don't watch this. This is AI.
Yeah.
And they had a inkling, but it's like wasn't strong enough to kind of like move them to act either way. And I think that for those Americans, like I think my parents would also love regulation that would say, this is AI.
Absolutely.
Whenever they're watching a video like that.
Absolutely.
So you go in knowing what you're getting instead of feeling hoodwinked when your daughter walks in the room and finds you.
Fire is useful. We don't have to let it burn all of our houses down.
Right.
Well, if you're not letting your fire burn your house down in 2026, you're not going to be able to keep up with the economy.
Okay, big combustible.
All right, my friends, what are your predictions for 2026? There's just a handful of hours, and I'm so curious to hear what you think. Thanks to everyone who makes this podcast a possibility, and we'll be back in your earballs next time.